All right, so I'm recording now. I sent out an email yesterday of a couple of things that we could discuss. The first of which is a follow-up to the question Amy from Olympic brought up last week about comparing titles and electronic collections or doing overlap analysis. And I have a couple thoughts on that. I think I'll hold that until later in the end on that topic, because I might do a little demo of how you can do it in Microsoft Access. And a technique that might be more that you could generalize to other problems besides doing the overlap analysis on the titles on electronic resources. So I think I'll hold that until we finish talking about anything else, because it might take us over the hour depending on how long it takes to demo it and how many questions come up. So I'll hold that one. Another topic of conversation has been the OCLC Reclamation project, and Kirsty sent out some good notes about that, and there's been some back and forth on that. It seems like a few of you have been interested in that topic, so I thought we could offer some time for anyone who wants to bring up questions or comments about that. I know Kirsty and Seattle are already have kicked off a project. Has anybody else kicked off a project officially with OCLC on this? I think Abby at Whatcom might have. I don't know if she's on the call.
Renton Tech has.
Oh, you have? Oh, great, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
How far along have you gotten? Have you just opened the request with them?
Yes, we just opened a request and we sent them the 5 records that they wanted to see.
Oh, like just examples?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyone else?
We're sending our records in by Friday.
Exciting. And how many files worth are you doing? Is it? I think you said you pulled 3 files.
Yeah. So one file for each college. And the notes OCLC set that. Sorry, it's still morning. My tongue has not really woken up. The notes OCLC sent said that we should limit our file size to 300,000 records.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah, yeah. They said if we had more than 300,000, then we should break them into files of 250,000 or smaller. So I'll be able to do just one file for each library.
We might have a hard time coming up with 300,000 for all of it. That's funny. Yeah, so there's not any size concerns, I think, for anyone. The main thing is, as I mentioned before, is making sure, including only those things that you want to set holdings on, and not sending stuff that will confuse OCLC, like records without OCLC numbers. And that's fairly
yeah, because they said that any records we send them that don't have a match, they're creating brand new WorldCat records with. So, so we're making sure that we don't include any of our brief uncatalogued bibs for things like equipment and reserve textbooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, and let me share my screen. Something I mentioned on the list yesterday is you can, in advanced search, you can, and I don't know if you ended up going into analytics to create sets for yourself.
No. In fact, yeah, thank you for that clarification on the list, Wade. Yeah. Create your set in an advanced search, because if you have a set, you can export the bib records from the set.
Yeah, and the
We're
what I
doing it
pointed
in-
out,
Yeah.
what I pointed out was the, there are a lot of fields in advanced search that you can filter by, if you want to exclude locations or if you want to, and I would think that's primarily how you'll identify the records that you want to submit to OCLC is by location. And then also the thing I pointed out is that the OCLC number is available in advanced search here, so you don't have to use analytics to do that. And I guess one of the things you did, Kirsty, was
Is not empty.
yeah.
So
Did you try? Did you?
Anything shows up in the OCLC as an OCLC number, grab it.
Yeah, and did you? Did you consider using I think 019 is the old, like a replaced OCLC number?
Anything that has an 019 is also going to have an 035 subfield A.
And the Z as well.
So I think it's in, I think the 035Z is also it's an old OCLC record number that's been superseded.
Yeah. So 035A is it. And there's the starts with. Did you look at using that? And
No.
The only reason I mentioned that is if you titles like if you've done local collection, canopy, and somehow there's a vendor number in 035A that's not a canopy number.
So rather than doing an all titles search, I did a physical titles search.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So by doing a physical titles search, that then excludes all of the community zone records.
Good point.
But actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that makes me realize that we do have some e-resources that I need to include.
Are you like things that you own permanently? Is that what you were going to try doing?
Yeah. And if you had not asked that question, I would not have realized that. And there's actually,
and then there's then it becomes a question of if you're going to submit like owned e-resources, it seems like you'd want to make sure that they are actually the fixed field is for electronic and not physical. Otherwise you'll get your symbol on the physical version of something. Seems like there's if somehow the records you have in Alma were based on physical and that hasn't been adjusted, then you might submit, there's a possibility that you can submit physical records for electronic titles.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, we did a lot of cleanup before we went into Alma on, because I'd gone through the Alma Primo migration before. I was really adamant that when we go on to Alma, we do not have OCLC records for print materials being used for any of our electronic products.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And then and I don't know on the WorldCat side. Maybe some of you can speak to this. How I guess they're accepting electronic records. And then if the, I guess there's a possibility that you can submit, like if you're getting records from, say, EBSCO for their ebook titles that you've purchased, and then submitting those to OCLC, and they don't have it in their catalog, so they create a record and they use the EBSCO one. Is that technically okay by your terms of your EBSCO licensing? That's it's in practical terms that probably would never come up, but and then I see like so Amy said, yeah, Amy, you're saying that the CZ records and EBSCO are crap. So did you get them?
Well, so I guess my question about this whole OCLC project, I haven't been paying attention. I didn't get the email. I didn't know about it until last week's meeting, but I'm confused about what exactly the project is doing. Is it updating your records? Is it updating subject headings? Is it?
No, it's all it's doing is cleaning up what WorldCat records you have holdings attached to.
Right.
And the basic idea is you send OCLC a bunch of your MARC records, and they make sure that all the records in the file that you sent them have holdings attached.
Okay.
And then once they've attached all of the holdings, anything that didn't get touched from that file that you sent, they then delete holdings. Wait, that's right. That didn't make much sense. They take the records you send them, they attach holdings, and anything that wasn't in that set that you sent them, they delete holdings from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to some degree. So we would not, are we only sending them things that we would be willing to share through interlibrary loans?
No, it should be any OCLC record in your system that you currently have access to.
So if we sent them records like that were CZ records, that would not be good.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
you should not be sending them CZ records.
Because of staffing and capacity issues, we just take the CZ records for all our ebook purchases. We haven't been downloading and using the MARC records that we could. Same with our film. We just,
Yeah. So
those I want to exclude.
If you have any, ebook or e-video packages where you get the records from the vendors, don't send those records to OCLC. Anything you have vendor records for, don't send those records. Anything you have community zone records for, don't send those records.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And to Lynn's point last week, I mean, the project is basically about improving the accuracy of your holdings in WorldCat. And to Lynn's point last week, if your holdings in WorldCat are already accurate, then this is not a necessary project. It's really to allow, to give opportunities, to give libraries an opportunity to catch up on their WorldCat maintenance work. So it's got nothing to do with improving data in Alma. It's about improving your holdings accuracy in WorldCat. And as Kirsty pointed out, you can do the physical titles. If you want to do this, you can limit your sets to physical titles, and that will limit, that will take electronic resources out of the conversation, and you'll just be doing physical titles. So the one thing I don't remember about this kind of project, and it seems like this was something that would happen in the past, is for records you have where the OCLC number has been updated or the records have been improved or updated. I don't know in this version of the project if OCLC is willing to send records back or information.
No, they won't. They're not going to send you the updated versions of the records.
So, and then.
You're just going to make sure your holding symbol is on the right record.
Yeah, Carabeth asked, how do you process physical titles that include electronic access? I think if you, as long as there's physical items on the title, if you do a physical title search, that should pull those, I believe. Oh, it's an interesting question, because is this physical titles based on the existence of items, or is it based on the fixed field? What you could do is include items exists equal yes. Isn't there a I don't know if you guys follow what I was thinking about there, but I believe, Carabeth, as long as you're, if you're going to do this and you create your sets based on the physical title search, anything that has physical materials attached will be included. And then let's see. So we have Seattle, Renton, Highline are the three that I heard have actually kicked off a project. Just for those of you who are wondering who's.
And this is Carabeth. I am contemplating it. I'm currently working on a project to convert all of our old WLN records to OCLC, and I am amazed at how many titles we have in our catalog that we don't have holdings for in OCLC, and I'm appalled, and I don't think we've done a really good job at when we withdraw stuff. We haven't always so our holdings, I bet, are a mess. Right now, I'm trying to get a handle on CTC link. I'm getting I just submitted a requisition this morning, and it went through without any hitches. So I'm thinking probably in the next month, I'm gonna start looking into this. OCLC calls it a reclamation project. So a week ago Friday, there was a OCLC hosted a webinar thing, and I attended because it looked like the topic was on DEI, how to incorporate more inclusive vocabularies in your subject headings. And but towards the end, there was a person who was talking about the reclamation project, and basically he was saying the same thing that Kirsty just said. It's just to update the holdings records for your library. And
yeah, and I think like a full reclamation project is more along the lines of you send them your MARC records, and then they send a bunch of records back to you so you can do updates. And reclamation is something that OCLC will do anytime for any member. And I think like this is what they used to do, and I don't know if they're still doing this, but it used to be the very first reclamation project that your institution ever did was completely free. Well, you know, free as in puppies, not free as in beer. Uh, but then if your institution did like a second or third reclamation project down the road, you would have to pay for that. But to the best of my knowledge, the very first reclamation project that your institution ever does is free.
Mhm.
And that doesn't have that deadline of this summer that the Streamlined Holdings project does. And like I said, and I think, but you know, don't quote me on this, I think a full reclamation project might give you updated records.
Yeah, I have reclamation project in quotations, and it's been, you know, almost 2 weeks. So I'm like, gee, I should have gone over these notes, you know, sooner after the meeting. But yeah, there is a recording. I don't know. I'm seeing Amy's message in the chat. I'm not sure. I guess I can share the link for that, but I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know if you had to register to get that link. I don't know. Not sure what their rules are.
Yes, I don't know if you heard Reclamation's project on the webinar you attended, Cara Beth, or you just remember me saying it. That was a term I use, which is, as Kirsty points out, the bigger, and you can just do OCLC, search OCLC Reclamation project. It's sort of the what OCLC is offering for free right now is a mini version of a reclamation project where they're just going to update your holdings, and you don't get files back to update your records or anything. So
I did note that when what they return to you, they add the OCLC number, which would be a big help to me as I'm going through this project. Because like I said, you know, I'm doing this project to convert the WLN records. So if I have the OCLC number, Kirsty sent me the tool for looking up the OCLC number based on the WLN number, but I'm using that tool. It helps, but it's also kind of it's like it adds a step. So if I can get OCLC to add the number, it would save me a little bit of searching. So
and I mean, it's possible that just for the purposes of setting holdings, they might be able to set your holdings based on WLN number. I don't know if they specify that they may be able to accept records with WLNs and set holdings. But I think for the freebie version, they're not going to send you records back. You'd have to do a full reclamation, I think, which maybe wouldn't cost much. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And on the Alma side, Kirsty, you mentioned the job that you have to run to do this export. It's just export bibliographic records, and run a job. The type is export bibliographic records, and you can specify the set that you want to export. I want to get to the and then the physical format. That's where, and it's not super obvious that binary is what you want to export, but it's binary in this setting rather than XML. I wish they would put mark in quotation or in parentheses by that or something, so it would be easier to And then let's see, and let's see, where did you export these to, Kirsty?
I exported into the institution folder,
Yeah.
just with the idea that if the files are in an institution folder, then other people have access to them.
And and it's the institution folder on the FTF, the Ex Libris FTP server. I don't even remember now. Let's see.
It's an institution folder on Alma. You don't have to go into FTP or anything like that.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to view the files, you go back into admin, and under the manage jobs and sets, there's
Yeah,
a
okay, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. Yeah, manage.
there's a
manage
manage
exports
exports
here.
option.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once the job finishes running, you go into that manage
Ah,
exports,
perfect.
and that's where you get your file of records.
Gotcha. Super. And these are the ones that you created, central, south, and north.
Yep.
Oh, and then you view and then you can download.
Yep. It was less complicated than I was afraid it would be.
Yeah. And I mean, and to generalize this, it's, if you had a set of records that you needed to make edits to that are kind of finicky to do inside of Alma, and I don't have a good example of that right now. It would be easy to export the MARC records, edit them in MARC edit or whatever, and then you could re-import those records back into Alma. So it's, that's one of the uses of this workflow is.
We did that with our WLN records. We had something like 60,000 records that were WLN that had no OCLC numbers. So we were able to export them, use some fancy merge functions in MARC edit to get the OCLC record numbers into the bibs and then import them back in.
And I guess the bandwidth is a little bit throttled on their side. What I would expect to see in what I would expect to see in these exported records is the MMS ID and the 001 field. And so that would allow you to make changes to these records like in MARC edit and re-import them by matching on the 001, and you would get, a perfect, it would be a very clean match to the records that you wanted to replace in Alma.
Correct.
So that's so just to generalize it, the discussion a little bit to another. And then I kind of have mentioned this before, the idea of setting holdings on periodicals in WorldCat, and I doubt anybody is doing that.
No, we are.
Oh, you are. So are you?
Or are you talking about
the actual issues at the issue level?
Oh no. Yeah. So there's local data holdings, LDH.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what
Yeah. And it was something that OCLC came up with, I forget exactly when, like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where the idea was that you could send them lists of the journal titles that you had access to in your collection, and that could be used in interlibrary loan to help more easily identify who had specific issues that you might need to borrow articles from. I don't know how many folks are still doing that. It seems to have become not so important now that so much stuff has moved online.
Hey, Kirsty,
Yeah.
this is Paula.
Yeah.
We switched from a more specific statement, which included dates, to a more general statement, like last 5 years, so we don't have to do the upkeep on it. So we still kind of have it, but it's a lot easier to deal with.
Good idea.
Oh, well, it's interesting to know that somebody's using that. So just in case during the process, your communications with OCLC, if they say, are you doing LHR or, anything about local holdings, that's what they're talking about. And I don't know in the process if you actually ever talk to OCLC or if it's just all an electronic transaction.
You can order a free LHR report, which is always interesting.
And then Kirsty, in your process so far, have you actually talked to anybody at OCLC?
Not verbally.
Right, not verbally, but I've
Yeah.
had email exchanges and I've asked specific questions. The form that you get, or the questionnaire you get to start the project, asks, do you have any of the, Paula, remind me of the acronym again? LHR?
With the LHR, local holding records.
Yeah. It asks, do you have any? If you have them, do you want to update them? Do you want to get rid of them? What do you want to, do you not know whether you have them or not? So yeah, so this project does ask about the local holdings records.
Okay, well, good discussion. Is there anything else we haven't covered that anybody would like to ask about or offer up? I don't think I've missed anything in. Oh, and did I catch that Highline has kicked us off? So Highline, Renton, Seattle, I think those are the 3 that are underway now, and maybe Whatcom. Oh, actually, yeah, I guess Abby was pulling her files already. So there's at least 4 of you doing this now. All right, good. Well, what was the next topic I had mentioned was, what was the other one that has been coming up on the list?
Title overlap.
No, there was one before that. Oh, no, I guess, yeah. Oh, in the just the mini discussion about orders and invoices for electronic collections. Kind of the thread on that and the practice of creating priced POLs based on, well, as Kirsty summarized it, a POL for every priced line item in an invoice. And I think I phrased that correctly. Does anybody have any questions about that or anything to add? Melinda, I know this was a topic of interest to you. Others of you on the call are also doing a number of you on the call are doing acquisitions, Highline, Shoreline, Bellevue, Pierce, sort of. I don't know if this is how you guys have been doing your electronic collections as well. But I think that Melinda was just getting started with this, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
mostly I was having conversation with, actually I was talking with Ben this morning just about using the collections and about, some of the philosophies that you guys have adopted in what collections you decide to create versus not create, because I know that my team, if I bring up the idea of, oh, we can create these collections, and it could really get out of hand. And so I need to, our main purpose was for creating a collection of films, which seemed to be a little more finicky to try and like owned or leased films that we have, creating a collection of those, because they're not as easy, unless you know the exact title, you may not know, you own these films or what have you. So just trying to create a collection for that, but then it kind of opens up a bag of worms for other collections.
Yeah, and then I just remembered I don't know if there's anybody from Skagit on the call, but they were this was actually, yeah, this thread actually started with Ellen, although I don't know if she's in her questions were in the public list, but the idea that Skagit has been using acquisitions for their physical collection. They haven't really started for electronic, but I think maybe with the transition of CTC Leap, they realized they want a way to kind of maintain the ability to report independently on budgets and expenditures for electronic resources. So that's kind of where part of this discussion originated anyways, is using acquisitions for electronic resources because they want to maintain their own sort of reporting data repository within Alma, in addition to whatever is available on the campus side. So yeah, see, there's in chat, you guys have started to discuss overlap. So we could talk a little bit, we could talk about that now, I think. And so we started last week. At least the use case for this particular scenario was Amy brought up the need to support the continued purchase of ProQuest collections, even though, in light of Gale being the new statewide database vendor. And, from the institutional perspective, the statewide contract is Gale now, why do we need to buy ProQuest? So so that specific use case is, what's in ProQuest that isn't in Gale was a specific question Amy was trying to answer. And that, and
Actually, I needed to know what was in ProQuest versus everything else, because the question was, should we get rid of ProQuest?
Yeah, and that, or any case where you want to compare, any kind of purchasing decision where I've got, I'm buying this collection, do I need to buy this collection still, or collections? And what Amy ran into a limitation in the overlap analysis tool in Alma, where you can't do kind of what she wanted to do, select, multiple collections that she currently owns or subscribes to, and compare those to either all or some of the collections she currently subscribes to. It's just the tool is kind of limited to doing certain scenarios, and we kind of went through them last week, so I won't go through that. So so we can't really answer Amy's question directly with this tool. So I started thinking about this problem, and let's see, we've got 20 minutes before the top of the hour. We might actually be able to. I started working on, I spent some time trying to do it in analytics, and I beat my head against this for a while, and I couldn't get there, and I don't think you can get there. Maybe it's possible, but so far I haven't been able to figure it out. But what I'm going to do is pull a couple of, let's see, I want MMS ID, I want title, and I want electronic collection name. So really what we'd like to be able to do is, select titles in a subset of collections. And here, just to go straight to Amy's particular use case, I'm going to select her ProQuest collections. And that's enough. So that's my set of ProQuest collections. I fooled around a lot with trying to do comparisons using multiple filters and things. And one of the reasons why I think you can't get there is just the way the data is structured. Make sure I'm repeating these. That because I think the reason why you can't do this in analytics, and maybe why you can't do it in Alma, is the title, the title and the MMS ID are not in a different table than the portfolio information and the collection information. So anyways, what I'm gonna, so these are all the titles and MMS IDs that are in those ProQuest collections. So what I'm gonna do is export that to an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm just going to rename that. I'm doing that on my other screen. So what I'm going to do is, so then what I'm going to do is grab the sort of the opposite set. I'm going to grab everything except those things that are in those collections. So that's my set of, and just, I don't want titles that are not in collections. And then this is going to be, what did I do? Oh, I left the other, sorry. I left my ProQuest selection in there. And this is a big list, so we'll take, this is everything but the ProQuest. And they're actually, I should have at least left out, and I kind of stuck now. We grabbed, if there's something like EBSCO ebooks in there, there might be 200,000 titles just in that.
So once you have both reports, are you going to do something with it in Alma Analytics? Are you
No, I'm going to do it in Access.
Okay.
I mean, that's a chat in analytics. There's not, you kind of have to get the data in two different sources to do the comparison, and there's not. Yeah, maybe I think I will reload and there may be a way to write a very complex SQL query for analytics that would create temporary tables. I'm not sure that would be allowed inside of OB. Good. But come on. Oh, rats. Now I gotta grab the columns again. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to do everything and then not. I'm going to, just for the purposes of, and is there a big Gale ebooks one in here?
There was also a Project Gutenberg.
Oh, and then ebooks, is ebook central in here? Let's try. And maybe hopefully that will be faster. Maybe I should have just selected a smaller set just to make the demo faster. And it's really easy to do a single compare and access. Something that I started putting together is a general, and then let's see. I want to. And you have to do that because you want data in each column and each row. And that's, which is why I'm repeating those, making sure that the columns are repeated when you know how analytics does the thing where if the data doesn't change in one column, it won't include the data unless you specify to repeat any repeating values. And in Access, what I was trying to put together is just a little access tool that you would just create a single file with all of your titles and collections, import that into the Access tool, and then you could do comparisons. Oh, yeah, okay, so let's. Sorry, that part took so long, just getting the data out. Over here. Oh. Okay, so I've got that. I just called that all other titles. And so what I'm going to do here is so I've got, I mean, a lot of you have probably worked with Access in some capacity. I mean, this I'm not going to do a lot of Access instruction here, but I'm just going to create a blank database. And I'm going to import the all other titles table. Yeah, and we're just going to import the data into a table and oop, there. Too big. Let's try the other one. Oh, because I have it open. Probably. Do I have it open? No. Oh, come on, guys. I think I have the. That might be. Come on. I should have made that. I shouldn't have made that file. I should have just selected a few of the collections just for demo purposes. Sorry about that.
Maybe do just the Gale titles?
Yeah, well, I don't. I mean, it should.
No?
It should. I think it'd take me. I don't know how many ended up in that. Yeah, just in case. Yeah. Oh, that's not the one. Okay, well that. So that did finish. So then we'll do the other one. ProQuest. All right, so I've got the two sets of records in Excel now. So now all I have to do is create a query, and I can use yeah, so I'm going to do a find. So they even have a query in the query wizard that makes this easy. Find unmatched query wizard is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to say, which table or query contains the records you want in the query results? That's the ProQuest title, ProQuest titles, and the related records are all other titles. And then I want which piece of information is in both titles. I'm just going to use MMS ID. And then which do you want to see in the query? I'll just do title, and actually I'll do MMS ID. I'll just so this should be, and I did that kind of quickly, should be those ProQuest titles that are not in any of those other titles. So if I can test this by grabbing an MMS ID. Oh, wrong collection. I wonder how come it's not. I wonder if that data set is too big for access to process. That one is ProQuest. So that looks correct. What I don't understand is why is the MS ID wrong?
So Wade, one of the things I noticed when we were looking at the file of everything, or like all the stuff except the ProQuest, I saw the title Cineaste. I don't know how it's pronounced. It showed up multiple times with multiple MMS ID numbers from different packages. So that makes me think maybe just
Use title, right?
yeah. Or like if we were doing this from scratch, which we don't have time to do, like maybe include the ISSN instead of the MMS ID and match on ISSN. And if you were doing it that way, you'd have to really break it down by, I'm either looking at serials or I'm looking at ebooks, but not both.
Not right. It's not. Yeah, it's not. Oh, that was a busted demo. Sorry about that.
Maybe do some screenshots without the pressure of it being live and send the screenshots out to the list.
Yeah, sorry about that. We'll give it another try. I mean, the basic idea is to grab the two different data sets out of Alma, the ones you want to compare, do a query and do the actually it was the duplicates that I want, do a duplicate, find unmatched. And maybe if I just do it on, how many do I get there? Did I get the right? Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. All right. Well, hopefully the discussion on the OCLC and the acquisitions thing was useful. All right. Well, thanks very much, everyone. I'm going to stop recording. Stop sharing.